help men find their place in the modern world. Through engaging interviews with experts and members of the community, we provide a clear picture of what healthy masculinity looks like as an example for boys and girls. Our mission is to provide a voice for men, to help them navigate the challenges that they face and provide hope for a brighter future. So tune in and join the conversation on The Wrecking Trade. Together, we can make a difference in the lives of men and boys in the Cayman Islands. Welcome to The Wrecking Trade, the radio show that provides a platform for a deeper understanding of issues affecting men in the Cayman Islands. Join us as we explore the low enrollment of men and boys in college classrooms, the absence of men in the church, and the absence of fathers in the home. Join the conversation as we help men find their place in the modern world. Through engaging interviews with experts and members of the community, we provide a clear picture of what healthy masculinity looks like as an example for boys and girls. Our mission is to provide a voice for men, to help them navigate the challenges that they face and provide hope for a brighter future. So tune in and join the conversation on The Wrecking Trade. Together, we can make a difference in the lives of men and boys in the Cayman Islands. Welcome to The Wrecking Trade, the radio show that provides a platform for a deeper understanding of issues affecting men in the Cayman Islands. Join us as we explore the low enrollment of men and boys in college classrooms, the absence of men in the church, and the absence of fathers in the home. Join the conversation as we help men find their place in the modern world. Through engaging interviews with experts and members of the community, we provide a clear picture of what healthy masculinity looks like as an example for boys and girls. Our mission is to provide a voice for men, to help them navigate the challenges that they face and provide hope for a brighter future. So tune in and join the conversation on The Wrecking Trade. Together, we can make a difference in the lives of men and boys in the Cayman Islands. Wrecking Trade, the radio show that provides a platform for a deeper understanding of issues affecting men in the Cayman Islands. Join us as we explore the low enrollment of men and boys in college classrooms, the absence of men in the church, and the absence of fathers in the home. Join the conversation as we help men find their place in the modern world. Through engaging interviews with experts and members of the community, we provide a clear picture of what healthy masculinity looks like as an example for boys and girls. Our mission is to provide a voice for men, to help them navigate the challenges that they face and provide hope for a brighter future. So tune in and join the conversation on The Wrecking Trade. Together, we can make a difference in the lives of men and boys in the Cayman Islands.
On The Wrecking Trade, as I get the cue from my producers that we are on, we are live, everything is good to go. My name is Robert Lynch, and welcome to our first show of 2024. It was an incredible year last year, and to this year, we're just going to take it to the next level. Remember to hit that subscribe button and hit that thumbs up as you join us. It's not just a good job, it's how we let YouTube know that what we talk about here matters. And today we have an incredible conversation where we are talking about female disrespect in relationships with my good friend and host of Just Before You Got Your Bed, Connie J.E. Welcome, Connie. Welcome, Connie.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So glad to be on air with The Wrecking Trade. Great topic. Let's dive in.
Let's dive right into it. And before we jump into it, because I actually have a video for us to review from a great psychologist who explores this, and we're going to break it as we go along to kind of talk about some of the things that he covers. Okay. But when you think about female disrespect, what comes to mind?
The way she makes a man feels.
And I like how you've positioned that because, and even as we think about this topic, one of the things I've realized is that many women don't actually know what disrespect is, and so it's not even their fault that it happens in one instance. And I say that because in many respects we are to blame, and I say that because we are enthralled by this powerful thing that sits between your legs, and even the thought or the potential of being able to experience it, turns many men into idiots, or it challenges us to use reason. And so, because of that experience, sometimes a man will, a woman may do something that he's offended by or feels disrespected by, but he doesn't say anything or he lets it slide. One of the ways I like to put it is, say for instance, a man and a woman, they're married and they've had a wonderful day, right? Things have been going really, really well. But at some point she may say something. Things have been going well, so he thinks, okay, fine, we may have some sex tonight, things won't go nice. But he says something and he now has to process, make the choice. Okay, do I say something and cause a potential fight?
And not get any.
And not get any tonight, or do I just let it slide?
So I can get some.
So I can get some, right? And here, if he says nothing, sure, he gets some, but he's just signaled to her that that thing that she did was okay. So when she does it again and there's no sex on the table and he gets upset, she's like, what are you talking about? This was fine last week. Why is it not fine now? And so many women feel deceived because they live in this space where sometimes it's fine and sometimes it's not. So that's why we're gonna spend some time going through it today,
yeah.
and then see where we're looking at. So
right.
let's get started with Dr. Orion Taraban. Let's see. All right, press the button. It should. Okay, I think right there we need to. All right, my producers, it looks like it started in the middle, so we might just need to rewind it or back it up to the beginning and then see if we can turn it up in studio so we can hear what he's saying. Would that be all right? And we just want to give big ups to our producer at the helm, Miss Lady Ellie, who's at the controls, keeping us working, keeping it going, keeping things happening. All right. So it should be this slide that says vid player, the scene that says vid player. And when you click on the vid player, you're able to then see the control and then rewind it. There we go. Lovely. Can we turn up the volume? And right there, he says, he makes the distinction, he makes a couple of distinctions. First up, he says that, hey, if you do want to be in a long-term relationship with someone, with a man, you must recognize that respect is important to him.
Absolutely.
And so when you think through that, you're thinking through, then how is it that it happens from time to time? And so for some reason, we've been living in this space where we've allowed things to happen. Or you have some women who they've been taught that disrespect is okay. And so we're not necessarily speaking to those women tonight. If you feel it's okay to disrespect the man that you're with, we're not talking to you because we can't help you.
But we want them nonetheless to get the facts and the truth, because I think we all need to relearn this fear. And if we're going to be successful, we all have to understand the dynamics of the two sexes and what is required. And one of the basic fundamental thing is respect.
So let me see if I hear what you're saying, Connie. The women who are okay with disrespecting, you still want to reach out to them because you think they can be saved. You think they can be helped.
Yes, they need to have the facts.
They need to have the facts. All right, we're going to try. So don't change the channel. Stick around. But I must tell you that some of the things that we're going to talk about today, they're going to trigger you. So trigger warning. Okay?
Trigger warning.
Trigger warning. All right? All right. So
I have a bottle of water with me when I'm sparked.
All right. Then let's dig right into it.
This does not mean that you have to respect him, though that would obviously be the third. Disrespecting someone and not respecting someone aren't the same thing. And this also does not mean that you have to agree with him or approve of everything that he does.
And right there, tell me what you thought. Tell me what your thoughts are.
I like that because then that pushes the era of open-mindedness. And I like that because I think that is also another angle of having a proper relationship.
Nice. And you're right, because here many persons I think believe that if you respect someone or you affirm what they're saying, it means you're in agreement. What we're saying is you don't have to be.
No.
It's just recognizing that this is important to that person and it's okay.
And the thing is, what I like about that is we always say it, we agree to disagree. And that should be right. Because it's saying then that I respect your opinion and that I rather you tell me how you're feeling really versus telling me a lie. And so then we create this fake ambiance because I'm thinking what I'm doing is okay, but in reality, you're allowing it to slide because you may get a gift.
And this works on two sides. You're right. For men are doing it and we're thinking, okay, fine, we want to keep things at peace so that we can maybe benefit. And I want to unpack a little something here. When we talk about sex, we'll talk about sex from the extent that it is carnal. Yes, it is physical release, but there's also another element for men that I think that women may not necessarily be able to fully appreciate, and that is, for many men, this world is a very lonely place. And by lonely, I mean men start out in life without value. Men have to build themselves up, and we'll understand it that the more someone is important or wealthy, you see more people gravitate towards them. So the reverse of that is the less you have,
The less you're seen.
yeah, people don't really care about you. You have people who come to our church and because they don't have a lot, they'll come in and they'll sit around and nobody sees them and they walk through the door. While the people who are important, everyone's trying to shake their hand and say something so they get less interaction. So imagine that man who goes to work. He's not necessarily the boss, the supervisor or tops.
It's not seen.
He's not seen. So when he comes home, his wife thinks that, okay, he just wants some sex. But it's an opportunity for him to have a fully and complete close connection with another human being.
And that's what it was designed for.
And that is what it was designed for. So, with that, let's continue.
Does mean that you have to find a way to disagree or disapprove in a way that does not disrespect him. And trust me, this is possible too.
You think we can?
Absolutely.
Very obvious ways in which women are subject to disrespecting men. They can do this through open mockery and contempt, or passive aggression and neglect, or even physical or emotional abuse.
So again, this speaks to the women who do it intentionally and they know what they're doing. And so while we said that we weren't what you want them to stay around, so understand that while you're shaking your head and doing all of these eye rolling, that is disrespectful. You know what you're doing. If you want the man that you're with to feel respected, what should they do? Stop it.
Absolutely. Because if the thing is, I believe that what I want is what I'm supposed to give. So if I want respect is something that is earned. I can't expect to be speaking with you like we're having a conversation and then I'm like and then when I come to you with something serious or something that's touching to me, you do the same thing to me, I'm gonna feel away. And then it boil up again and then they'll get louder. And then the thing is, and then if you get loud, I'm saying, oh, it's abuse. But if I get loud, the world doesn't look at it as if I'm abusing you. But it can be emotional and psychological too.
Absolutely, and I appreciate you saying that. And women, as you're hearing us talk, and men, this is important for us to understand that these things are happening, and as they become a part of the dynamic, as we talk about accountability, responsibility, and masculinity, we are recognizing this is happening, and it's okay for us to set some boundaries. As you said earlier, you want to hear the truth. You want us to represent truth to you, so you can know that if you are submitting to the leadership, you can trust the leadership because he's accurately represented himself.
It's not changing.
It's not changing.
Because I cannot read to know that, okay, he comes in and he sits in the chair he doesn't want to play. You know, like you want to pinch up and play up and whatever. And then I'm supposed to read his mind now to say, okay, if him take off the shoes and him put the left one over there, so, and the right one over there, so it means that he wants to play. Stop sending me mixed signals. Let us keep it straight. I know you can come in and say, today I'm feeling like this. And I can gather how you're feeling, and then I know how to react versus trying to read your expression and read your mind.
So what happens in the situation now, though? Because, and many men have expressed this in that mixed impressions tend to sometimes come a lot from women. Right? You tell us that you want us to tell you the truth, but then when you say, do these pants make me look fat?
No, they don't. I know, it's tricky, right?
It gets tricky.
Oh my gosh,
right?
I know.
And then you cook this nice meal. You spent the whole day cooking the meal. The meal is not the best. Do I tell you that this is horrible? What do I do?
Of course not, you know, because the Lord says we must sprinkle it with a little salt. Yeah, like you have a little flavor. But here's the kicker that I find, however, that when I know that my man is a straightforward man, but he's also compassionate and understanding, it makes a difference. So that when he tells me the truth, it's not done in a way that, you know, you tell me and chop it off and it's done, full stop. I just speak my mind. No. You see, we need, and sometimes women tend to do that too. I'm just going to tell you how I feel. Don't call to me. Don't touch me. And we're done. But in reality is what I want when I'm vulnerable from you is what I'm to give you as well. So for me, my thing is what you want from me and what I want from you is what we have to reciprocate each other.
And it doesn't come naturally, so we do have to work at it. And especially for us as men, we do have to work at it a little bit harder because, as you said, to help you to get to that place of being vulnerable, as the leader, I have to start it. I have to set the tone.
And I find as well, Robert, that the key thing is we must be very smart, very wise in the beginning of knowing someone. You know, some people say, well, me tell him how me stay. But our personalities are a bit different. And, you know, as your environment change, you adapt to the environment. So me might be that little nice touchy in that moment here. But something changed in my environment that caused me to be like, I'm a ton roll eye and I'm stiff now, you know? So we are all growing and things are changing around us. We have to adapt. And also that means getting the understanding of a person's background prior, because that is key.
Listen.
My personality is a person a talker, is a person loud, because for me personally, I'm a loudie. And he's a chatter, right? And you might think when I'm talking loud, me upset. But me not upset, you know. You hear me upset when me quiet. So you would have to now get to know the person, you know. And I think starting out relationships, it is key getting that fundamental information before moving forward.
And as you get that fundamental information, make the decision. Is this comfortable with you, for you, long term?
Exactly.
Because if all that's in your eyes first is for the woman to get the ring, or for you, the man, to get some sex. After you get the ring, or you get the sex, and then now
Everything's still.
Are you now in problems?
Of course you're going to problem because the ring not pretty again and they're not big enough.
And that helps us to figure out when we're starting about disrespect, when we're talking about disrespect, to be able to set the tone at the beginning. Set your boundaries, understand what is okay for you. And so if it means that, hey, it's not okay with you, that's all right. Shake hands and we will keep it moving on to the next one.
Exactly.
All right. So let's see if we can hear what he suggests now, the psychologist Orion Taraban.
Abuse. I'm not talking about these things. I take it that the vast majority of women understand that these behaviors are disrespectful and toxic. Rather, today's talk is going to be about ways in which women disrespect men without realizing it. The idea here is to call women's attention to the ways in which they may be inadvertently sabotaging the relationships they want with the men they want to have them with. And keep in mind, I'm not arguing that women have a moral or ethical responsibility not to do these things vis-a-vis men. I'm arguing that women who voluntarily choose not to do these things will be much more effective in achieving their relationship goals. This is all about effectiveness.
And so right here, we're setting the tone, and the tone is, if you want to wring your neck and do all those things, just understand that it's not going to help you. But if you want to increase your success in relationships, there are some things that don't come naturally, but if you pay attention to them, they might have big payoffs.
I agree.
All right, so let's go.
This list is by no means exhaustive, but it should serve as a general template for examining one's behavior in light of this value. As stated in previous episodes, the general rule of thumb when it comes to disrespect is, if you wouldn't say the same thing in the same way to your boss if you were interested in keeping your job, then you shouldn't say that in that way to the man with whom you want to be in a long term.
Sticking your pin right there, because I know that statement can be triggering for some women. What were your thoughts as you heard that?
I totally agree. I agree. No, but think about it. If I wouldn't say to the visitor, the stranger outside, why is it okay to speak to the one that is here? Mind you, now, the one that is in the house with you is the person you need for so much support, emotional, financial. You know, what if me drop down or me feel sick and want a cup of tea? I can't pick up the phone and call my boss and respectfully ask him to come over and give me tea. But my partner, my husband is here. And this is a person you want to allow to feel that he's needed, that he's valued. And then he comes back again. When you feed into something, you get to eat it. Because I may plant the tree, I may nurture it, I may water it, I may prune it up and whatever. When it bear beautiful fruit, I'm enjoying it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I completely resonate with you on that. But there are some women who believe that, hey, as they go to work, they have to put on a show. And so part of that is the show that they put on because they know they need the sustenance. It's a facade. So why should I put on this facade now in my home? Why can't I just be myself?
You should be yourself at home. All of you without the mask. But being yourself without the mask don't mean that I belittle or allow the other person to feel smaller than I am. Because in reality, when you do that, you're losing. You're not winning.
And that's the message. Sometimes when we keep talking about being ourselves, for some reason, ourselves seems to gravitate to the
like
lowest common denominator as opposed to our higher aspirational selves.
Yeah.
Yourself is that self that you're trying to align with God as well. Not just the one who, I will tell you a couple things. No, that's not yourself.
That's true. And the thing is, if you believe in God and believe that his principles are true, don't think by any means that anything you did was overlooked. And don't think that anything that you did wrong, there isn't a consequence to that. And the very treasure you may have at home by your dirty attitude and behavior.
Say it again.
Your dirty attitude and behavior. No, but seriously, you can lose the treasure. Sometimes, as the saying goes, cow no use I'm tail till him lose it. And when the man, and funnily, you know, what I find is that some women, they you can't even buy this, or boy, me wish Robert I did my husband, because look how Robert do that and Robert do this, right? Then James go away to my neighbor.
And she's giving him the respect and he's flourishing.
Oh, and him start to blossom. And then I'm like, God, me can't get him back. When?
Never.
So we have to think about those consequences, because I might jokingly say it, but that's a reality. And these are things that have happened before, scenarios that have played over persons. They never knew the person they had until they've totally destroyed it, and they wish they could just go a year back. And so forth. You can't take that back. So when you're going into a relationship, you must understand what it entails, that the person you're going into a lifelong relationship with, their total being is your responsibility, and God holds you accountable.
And I love the analogy that you use in terms of a garden, because as you're planting a garden today, you might just see earth because the seed is there, it's germinating, but all I'm seeing is earth. It's understanding that, hey, as the gardener. You're watering because in faith you know that you're helping this
It will come in.
relationship.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
relationship. So we're not only talking about criticizing and demeaning language, like word choice, we're also talking about nonverbal cues of disrespect, like eye rolling or dismissive sighing or haughty body language, etc. As we'll see, most of these behaviors involve women inappropriately assuming more power than is warranted in their intimate relationships, which is emotionally perceived by men as disrespect. Let's jump right into it. The first way.
As we're seeing on the screen, inappropriate questioning, and we want to just underscore the idea of power, the power dynamics in relationships, because even as we have this conversation about equality, there's something that we discount, and it's the thing that I mentioned or suggested earlier in terms of the impact of sex or the impact of that sexual potential. So even though we're equal, understand that because the man is, whenever someone is seeking something, they naturally fall into a lesser position because the person who is now giving the thing has a position of power. So when we're talking about equality,
and in reality, I think when it comes to the sexual aspect, women have the upper hand. I do believe that because, anywhere the men, because men, they work from sight. It's what they see that turns them on. Your body, whatever you're wearing. You understand? And trust me, and when the desire is there, you don't even have to have good shape. You're just availability.
Yes.
Right? And so I know women have that. And men love the fact that women exert that power on them. They love it. You tell them what to do, how you want them, and it's very nice because guess why? You are sharing with them. They're going to they're going to feast without hindrance. Can I say that?
Say it.
Right. They can, right? And so,
to the extent,
for them,
if I jump in there,
men love it. Men think that, or men take it as respect and love.
And to the extent that you're saying you're sharing yourself, it is understanding, because sometimes she can be there and it's lackluster and you don't feel that connection. But when you have that full invitation, that welcome where she's fully engaged and involved, the connection now, and not just talking about the physical, but that emotional connection is that much stronger because you're now in the same place with this person fully and completely. Both of you are in the middle of desire.
Exactly. And can you imagine how nicer it is when she's the one who initiates versus you have to be asking
all the time. All right, so this one about inappropriate questioning, many women will find themselves going, why we can't ask him questions? But here, let's hear what our psychologist says.
Okay.
One second. It seems the volume went down, so let me see if I can turn it back up, make sure that we can hear it.
The ability to ask questions is a privilege that is awarded to those with more power. Have you ever been arrested? In the interrogation room, you don't get to ask the officers questions. They do. Just like they say in all the cop dramas, hey, we're the ones asking questions here. Have you ever attended a session of the Supreme Court? During oral arguments, the justices are empowered to ask the attorneys present as many questions as they want, even interrupting their responses to ask even more questions if necessary. The attorneys never get a chance to grill the justices. Why? Because the court wasn't convened to answer to the lawyers. That would be an inappropriate usurpation of authority. Women, when you interrogate men by questioning their intentions, their whereabouts, their motivations, their choices, you are basically communicating that you believe that you occupy a more powerful position relative to them. You communicate that you believe that you have a right to know certain things and that you believe he must answer to you. And it's only the less powerful who must answer to the more powerful, never the other way around. This is functionally placing yourself in a higher position relative to that man, which will absolutely be perceived as disrespect. Find ways to learn what you want without prying or interrogating. Despite what you believe, no man has any obligation to answer to you. Now, the second way that women...
What are your thoughts on that one? I know some triggers.
Me, I got sure if you. Let me drink some water
Triggers of water.
first.
I know. Again, ladies, trigger warning. I know some of you stayed. You weren't into this whole respect thing, but you stayed. So again, trigger warning. Inappropriate questioning.
Now, I totally agree. One side, and then one side me have to say. In that, I do believe that no one owns anyone. So if he stays out, and he's, mind you now, we're talking about respect
Yes.
here. So if my husband decides that after work he made a decision, meet up with a friend, or he had something to do, whatever it is, he didn't get a chance to say, Connie, I'm gonna be about an hour or two or whatever, and he comes in.
Didn't get a chance to say.
Yeah, because what I feel is that
He needed to.
he doesn't need to. This is what I'm saying. No one owns anyone, and I don't believe it is right for me to say, so why you gonna be out there? How long you gonna be? That's not my place. He's not a kid, so he's not my child, and vice versa. I don't expect him to do that to me either. Like I said, for me, is what I want, I'm gonna give. But I do believe, out of respect and the fact that I care about you, you love, or we're in love. If you see that you're normally home, I know your coming home time is normally between 6:30 and 7. When I see 7 come, and I say, maybe traffic. Then me see 8 o'clock come, and I say, wonder if something is wrong. First thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna grab my phone and say, honey, what happened? Were you there? I'm not asking him that for him to relate or tell me as if I'm the boss. When I am asking him that out of care and concern and the fear that I have in me, not off of a ownership, not putting it out there as an inappropriate question. But you see, we have routines that we've come familiar with. When my husband is coming home, me know him leave work 5:30. So I when me look on traffic and everything, me know what time he come home. And I do that because I know my husband like him food hot. So if I cook the food, say, and the food done from 4 o'clock, me know say by the time he come home, in a warm. So boom, me put in a microwave, and me come in knowing like when I sit across from him while he's eating, we are chatting. Me know him like that. So when me see 7 come and me put the food in a microwave and me sit down. I'm not saying it him need to make me know. No, I'm saying out of respect for our relationship, let me know so the car tire flat. Let me know you went by Robert. You know, saying, honey, I'm not sure when I'm going to be, but I'm with the boys. Cool. So at least me have an idea. Because we stay up for you. And vice versa too. If I'm out, me not expect you to draw a sheet and lock your eye. You're supposed to be alert till I come in. And I expect the woman to do so for the man.
So here's the message in the middle of that. Understanding that respect is important to the man. When you call, even though you're saying, hey, wonderful thing, I want to get the dinner on the table at the right time, I want to do all these things. But when you pick up the phone and you say, well, you're there, I don't have any of that context. So right in that position, and remember, what we're talking to is women who are doing this unintentionally. Just like you said, your intentions are good, but you just called me to ask me where you're there. Which means you just called me to interrogate me.
Well,
again, it wasn't your intent.
Yeah, but you see, that's how you probably interpret
and
it.
so that's why we're talking about female disrespect, how the man interprets it. How much more wonderful would it be to go, hi honey, I was expecting you at 6 o'clock and I wanted to have the dinner ready for you and all those things to make sure it's the right time. If you let me know what time, I can make sure. How does he feel differently?
No,
then?
but here one
Stay
now.
with me.
No, stay with you.
So
I'm with you.
How do you think he'd feel differently
Okay.
from that response as
All
opposed
right.
to where you're there?
So no, here's the thing, and I'm gonna use this thing. Because I'm a Jamaican.
No, don't change the channel yet.
No, me not. Hold on. No, me not. I'm right here. Inappropriate question. And how we making the man feel. All right. So we have this saying in Jamaica, like you'll come and you say, so I hear a man that you say, No, child. And you say, so Robert, no call you from the incident. No, me girl. You hear my dialect and the choice of words that I use gives the appropriate answer to the question. So you can read into my answer, you know, what I'm trying to say to you, and I say, no child and no girl, right? When in getting to know you before we got married, you know how me talk. You know my love languages. You know if I'm a touchy or a verbal, and you know how I correspond with you. So when we pick up the phone now, and it can't be that I'm subjected to the point of my whether it's standard English or I'm writing the appropriate essay or sentence line. It must be, however, that irrespective of how I speak with you, my respect must be communicated to you. So even though me say, "Were you there?" is not in the sense that me I say, "Oh, were you there?" Why, I mean, I do it with the neck and the eye roll.
So let me help you here. And again, this right here is critical. You don't intend to do this. What we're trying to unpack here is how the man receives it. So it's not about how you meant it or even your dialect. It's understanding what that man needs to hear and how he receives. So even though you may say, "Were you there?" in your nicest voice, a "were you there?" is still, for a man, an interrogation question.
And you must understand, that a nice sentence can be the interrogating to you.
Hold on again. Hear me out. So notice, built into my sentence, whether you say it in English, patois, or Chinese, built into the sentence before the question was, I was declaring my intent. Your intent in making the phone call was to let him know that you appreciate him.
I'm concerned.
No. Hear me out. Hear me.
Okay, got that.
And you want to have the dinner ready for him. You want to give him a gift. Without that context, when you just go right to, "Were you there?" that's an interrogation without context. And that's what many women miss. Because in your head, you know why you're asking the question, but the man doesn't. You don't know what he's in the middle of. He could be in the middle of something where "were you there?" is like just another annoyance on top of what he's already dealing with.
I get you. And I see your point.
Yes.
And you're right. And my thing is as well, like I'm not overshadowing what you said because you're perfectly right. It all depends on what is happening, the situation. I don't know. I'm not seeing. But I believe as well, when you and I get to understand each other, you can know when a one word from me is a one word of love or sprinkled with love, versus if I speak nicely or I set a tone, I'm also being manipulative. So I can say, "Darling, I was so worried about you. I wanted to have the dinner ready for you at 7 at your usual time, but I haven't seen you."
Let me
What
take it out
could
of the
be
English
the
for you.
problem?
Let me take it out of the English for you, because you can say it in patois. Say, "Baby, me miss you, me don't want to have the dinner ready right away as soon as you come in. So let me know what time you're coming in so I can..." See? So
But I can manipulate you with that too.
But you're missing the point of what I'm trying to say to you.
No, me not miss the point. What I'm saying to you is that I agree with you that sometimes the way you come off, depending on the circumstances, can trigger something. Because a man, I'm not seeing him, and he's in a situation very well, and he can interpret how I say a thing. But I'm looking at the fact that you and I now know each other. You know how me and you talk. So if when I pick up the phone and I say, "Oh, were you there?" You can interpret it as when you said your nice sentence.
All right, let me unpack this part. And again, this is great because here you actually want to find that space and be respectful. And this can be a challenging for many women because they're doing something that they're not recognizing. You're saying you can interpret, but what we're talking about here is what you're projecting. And that key happens here. Many women have not found themselves in a situation where they have had to learn to understand the man. And so that's why this becomes a little bit difficult. So when she's picking up the phone, she's putting her mind into not what I'm trying to say, but where he is and what he may need. And whether he's in a great space or a terrible space, to try to intentionally make sure that she's pouring into him. So a question, however you say it, of where you're there, is seeking an answer. While a declaring your position first up says, baby, I don't know what you're going through, but I'm giving you a gift. And that gift starts out with, I want to have the food ready for you. I know that's something that you like. So whatever question that comes after that now is now managed through the process of, I'm now asking you this question so that I can give you this gift.
Can I say something, bring something to the forefront?
Yes.
Is that we are diverse. And as well as our understanding and our learning, you know, our backgrounds and so forth, and how we were, you know, you were raised up. And you will find that that's why I say it's very important at the beginning for both of you to understand and the boundaries are set and everybody is familiar with, and truth is fundamental and put out this already. Because I may speak a certain way and you may interpret it that the wording wasn't right, or I'm coming across harsh or whatever. But if I get to know you, get to know me, you then know, you can know when me I talk to you. When you know, say, I know, me not go down in your business. I may not say, baby, you know, I don't know your surrounding and everything. I mean, want the food out for you and Ray. But in all of those words, me can't just use when I say, baby, how are you there?
But here's...
You know what I mean?
I hear you. And here's...
But you're still saying that it need to...
Yes.
Fluff.
And let me tell you why. Because as you're talking, all the things that you're saying, great. People can get to know each other at that level. But one of the things that we all appreciate and understand is that all of us have bad habits.
Almost definitely.
And so right here, we're talking about being a little bit more intentional in making sure that the person that I'm communicating to understands fully my intent. Not that they would have known me and them know there's some mistake, but I'm intentionally giving them, let's call it something extra to make sure that even if there's a possibility that something could go wrong, I'm doing even more to make sure that it is clear. So fine, he could understand you on a regular day, you know, all the time. You ask the way you're there, but here's the thing, and it happens in many relationships. You call and you ask, and that's just how you are, and him trip, and you're like, what you trip for? That's how I talk to you all the time. So
But I can't read your mind. That's what I said before.
And so, if we err on this side of caution, that means if I'm always declaring my intent, even if that's not my habit, if I'm always declaring my intent, it reduces the potential for miscommunication. And in this specific context, we know, because that's what we're saying here, as men, we appreciate this. So it may take a little bit of extra effort, but we're inviting you to, even though that's how you are, to try this on. That's the invitation, and that's why we're talking about female disrespect. That's why we're talking about female disrespect. Sure, we'll work as much as we can to understand. You know why? Because we have to anyway. In my example, a man has to manage the situation if he wants to get the power that you have. He will do that. We're inviting you to now recognize he's doing that. What can I do so that we can make sure the situation works out as best for both of us? What do you think?
In a circumstance like this, you know, we have those who intentionally do the error.
Yes.
While you have those who are not intentional and they may
That's
not
it.
be aware. And of course, we want everyone to be sensitized to the fact of each other's
Yes.
feelings. But I wouldn't want it to come across as well that now I have to tiptoe around you. Me have to go come put some cushion out. Me have to go buy up a whole heap of bag of cotton and trade them because you might hurt yourself. You know what I mean? And I don't want it to come off as if that is disrespectful. What I'm saying...
I'm saying clearly. It is disrespectful.
Because-
men are receiving that as disrespect. That's what we're saying. This is received by men as disrespect, irrespective of how you feel about it. Now, once you understand that, you can make the choice. Listen, we can't work with a man there. Or you can say, you know what? This is me. It's me, you know. This is how I always was, but
I'm adjusting.
But that's what I say when me I get to know, because if that's what I'm saying, you don't give me mixed signals. So when my first go on me, you the first go on me say, so what me gonna call me? You say, honey, me not tell no lie no. Me not like how you come across to me. Me no appreciate how you just jump off in a ray. So when I get to when I get that off of our first go, I realize you're being truthful to me. You're telling me how you feel or how I make you feel. So our next interaction will be an edited version to what was there before. But if you, like you said, just go now. And I'm saying, so what the problem is, I saw we always again, that's what me talk and we're blah, 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 blah. Then you, as you said before, we do it and we don't know that you are feeling disrespect because you never shared. Now, if you will share and be open, and I think this is where we learn and we become sensitive to each other's feelings. So if I'm talking to you and I talk to you loud, or I raise my voice, I say, Connie, I know you're a loudie, but when me talk to you about certain things I call this or so, I tell you about the boil on my foot, me no want you loud. You know what I mean?
Fear.
So then now we are learning, and that's how I will learn to show you the respect that I already have for you, but I display it in the way that you receive it well.
Makes sense. And so here, message to men. Even if it means that you may risk getting some sex tonight, be straight up. Let her know that you don't appreciate that. Because it is better to risk some sex tonight and then set the tone for some good times going forward, or cut it off altogether and move on to the next thing. Because if we set the wrong tone, we may subject ourselves to a lifetime of unintentional disrespect.
Yeah.
Or even as we go along, it becomes, it starts to eat away at your soul a little bit
And
more.
we're less sex.
And way less sex.
If you tell me the truth, at that time you get the sex.
All right. So now, and again, recognizing that first one out the gate, inappropriate question. That was a little bit of a challenge.
But we fix it up. Yes.
All right. The next one is granting permission.
Me like that, granting permission to what?
And let us see to what.
Yes.
Disrespect men without realizing it is through granting permission. In general, we have to ask permission of those who have the authority to grant our requests. This means that we act as though the good in question is actually in the possession of the authority who can grant us permission, whether that's technically true or not. Taking possession of that good without permission would be an egregious act of insubordination. And this is because permission only moves from the high to the low. Those with more power never have to ask permission of those with less. Now, the fact of the matter is that unless you come to a mutual agreement to the contrary, a man has no obligation to ask your permission for anything, even if he's in a committed relationship with you. He was a sovereign and autonomous individual when you met him, and he remains a sovereign and autonomous individual until he explicitly enters into a new arrangement to the contrary. This means that a man has absolutely no obligation to ask your permission or check in with you first to spend time with his friends or leave his house or pursue his hobbies, or really do whatever it is that he wants to do with what could very well be his one and only life on this planet. Women, would you want to ask your man's permission before you spent your own money? Wouldn't that, rankle you? Like it's your money, you earned it. Why should any man have the power to decide what you do with it? Well, by the same token, why would any man need to ask your permission on how to spend his own time? It's his life, not yours. A woman who acts as though a man must ask her permission to spend his own time is like a man who acts as though a woman must ask him permission to spend her own money. Only worse, because you can get money back. And expecting your man to check in with you before he makes a decision with respect to how he spends his own time is acting as though you have the authority to grant or withhold permission on the matter. as before. This is functionally placing yourself in a higher position relative to that man, which, once again, will absolutely be perceived as disrespect. And of course, any man who allows himself to fall into this dynamic is more than partly to blame for his situation.
Well, I
Trigger
agree.
warning.
No, I agree.
Okay.
I agree. Why I agree? Because as I said before, no one owns anyone. And mind you now, I don't think that my husband needs to ask me, can I play tennis? Can I go and play football? Can I do this? Can I hang out? He doesn't need to do that. He doesn't need to get my permission to do that. He's an adult. We are two separate beings. We are now joined as one in marriage. But he's still an individual with his likes and his dislikes. So I totally agree that he doesn't need to ask permission to spend his time. And you don't want to go on the backdrop and say, oh, whatever. But I'm just saying, in reality, I completely 100% agree with that.
So what about the women? Because you did ask them to stick around. The women who said, what do you mean you're talking about? And I get some waves in the corner. The women,
Yes.
No. He
Because-
must tell me because, or he's going to do this. How dare he not check in with me? How come he didn't say?
Like I said again, what I want is what I'm to give. Now, I don't want it to be that my husband says, well, I'm your husband and you are only allowed to have 5 girlfriends. And you cannot go anywhere unless I'm with you. You can't drive the car or unless, whatever. You don't want that because that's not a healthy relationship. That's not a trusting, comforting relationship. My husband must feel free to be himself. Within being free to because remember, like the doctor said, the psychologist says, he says, before he met me, he was this total individual. Totally agree. Now he has come into another agreement now that I'm in the picture. So with all the plannings, I'm in the picture. It doesn't mean that I have to give him permission to do whatever, to go wherever. All that I look on is that we are respecting each other. So if you say I got to stay along, just tell me.
Just tell you. But
Because I'm not saying to him, that you need to tell me.
But you
Or
just say.
No, what I mean is, when I say tell me, what I mean is, tell me you want to go play that game here, or can I play tennis? Can I go swimming? You don't ask me. I'm not setting a schedule. You're an adult. You're my husband. So you're making those decisions that I'm saying now. When if you're gonna belong, like what we're talking about before, I'm just saying we have a routine. So remember, I am now in the picture. So everything decisions that you're making them with the knowledge that I'm now part of the picture.
Yes, and that's fair on the surface. And here's where the rubber meets the road. If he doesn't, what happens?
Then I look on it as a form of disrespect.
And here is where it is. Because if you're now receiving that as disrespect, then you don't actually recognize what was happening when he did give it to you. Because here's the thing. If I bring $100 and say, well, go on, Connie, here's $100. I didn't need to give you $100. I don't have any obligation to give you $100. So you receive it as a gift with appreciation. Next time you see me and I don't give you any money, you get vexed.
No, I'm not a donkey.
And that's the point. So in the same way, when you recognize that him telling you where he's going and hear me, sharing those things with you is a gift that he gives to you because he appreciates you being in his life, then you don't get vexed when he doesn't because you're a donkey.
So here's the thing now, and that is why I said what I said first. Don't get it wrong. I never said he needs to tell me. Because if my husband wants to play football, tennis, he wants to go and learn pickleball, or him want to go scuba diving, whatever he chooses for his enjoyment, absolutely fine. You know, I may have a little thing for say if him want to do race car or ride bike. You know, you're gonna be like, you know. But I'm just saying. But even so, whatever it is that is going to bring enjoyment to him, he has a right to choose and he has a right to do it. And being his wife doesn't give me that authority to impede him in enjoying. What I'm saying is that know that I'm a part of the picture. Every decision we make, whether fun or not, we both must do it with the understanding that we are in the picture.
Yes.
It doesn't mean that because I'm in the picture now, I become lord over it. And then he might say, honey, me can't go watch football with the guys them. Can this? No, absolutely not. You can come and say to me, Connie, you know, football next week, you know. And you know, you're doing the barbecue being there nice. Me I invite the boy them over, so you know, you don't know, so you have to go jump in at that time. So you're actually telling me and you're setting some things to me if you do. But oh it nice, cause you say, you sweet me parody and you done know you're there barbecuing them nice, you know, you done know. You understand what I'm saying? You're making those decisions with me in the picture.
I liked what you said, and in the midst of what you said, I was able to appreciate something else as well. And this part can be a little bit of a challenge for some persons, in that you wanted to feel included.
Yes.
But the response that many men get when it happens or he didn't call and you get vexed, we don't get that wanting to be included. Instead, we get the boss attitude. So here's, and he did say it in that we have to find different ways to communicate the same thing. And built into the first response that I gave is the idea of communicating the vulnerability and the desire as opposed to the thing that has upset you. So it's being able to say, hey, I really wanted to be with you, know. That's what I'm really talking about. I missed you, as opposed to you upset me or you disrespect me.
I never tell
me. And that is what we're really talking about. Because even the things that we're talking about, they play an active role in a healthy relationship. What we're talking about here is how we communicate those things. Because if that man is now telling you his whereabouts because he doesn't want you to be upset,
he might tell me. And like I'm setting a schedule.
There you go.
So here we go again now by starting off on the wrong foot. And then you set a template. And then when I'm walking in the template, you say, in disrespectful. Because mind you, all right, you see, like how the gentleman, the psychologist was speaking, and again, that says is how we communicate and we perceive. So, you know, I sat here and I was listening to him, and his word choice for me in the beginning was not appropriate for me in saying, you know, triggering. The lesser and the higher, and the higher don't ask the permission, because in a marriage relationship, I'm not looking on it when we are dealing with respect to each other, that there, you know, don't get me wrong now, you know, don't get me wrong, that there is a higher lower, because I can't set the scene of home as if I were going into a courtroom that I have the judge and I have a lawyer. Mind you, hold on, get what me I say? Yes. Because I'm coming from the understanding that the man is the head of the home, right? I'm coming from there. So he's the head of the home. I'm not coming from that. And I want, you know, the ladies who are listening to understand that
man is the head of the home.
That's how God made them, and there's nothing you can do to change what God set already.
Yes.
So you can't unman a man. Him just a man. Even if him cut it off, he is still a man, right? But my thing is, in the relationship, however, is that, like I said before, when we're doing anything, we want to do the including.
Yes.
So at first, when I heard him start talking and him I do the it wasn't the word choice for me, and I was like, okay,
trigger warning.
You're right. So I said, you know, let me get the full essence, and I was saying it in my mind. Okay, if he don't fix it for me, I know Robert's gonna fix it. You know, so sometimes so this was what brought it even clearer for me when you're saying, when I call and say, where you there? It's just the word choices and how I interpret what you say. So if we don't fix up it, we're going to come off with bitter taste.
There you go. There you go. And so here, as we're talking about thinking through what the other person is receiving and trying to prepare the best meal for them, they can have that good taste,
Good taste.
because that's what we're looking for.
That's right. I agree. Totally.
All right. So right there, we just talked about giving permission. He doesn't need your permission. When he does ask you, it is him including you into the atmosphere, and you appreciate that. And when you don't get that, you do feel left out. And as a man, it's a little bit challenging here. So, but we're inviting women to understand that and recognize that, hey, the most beautiful thing for a woman to display to a man is that vulnerability. When she lets him know, that she does desire him.
Yes.
She wants to be in his presence.
Wants
she
his
wants to be
opinion,
around him.
yes.
She wants his opinion. Then
Yes.
that man will climb mockery, scale mountains, and do a whole bunch of things to bring joy, because he now cherishes you. You are
Yes.
Proverbs 31 embodied.
Because I am feeding into him
There
his
you go.
reality.
There you go.
That he is designed
That's
as a
it.
leader. And then and guess what? When he now includes me, me feel so
Listen.
good. I'm giving manure, you say? Gross what thing.
But when we go in the other direction and we send these signals of where you're there or walk, it sends the power signal, which then translates.
Sucks them out.
That's right. And now he has to try. He may find himself needing to assert.
Open up his wings.
Yes.
To be broad
and
and
you're
get
not going
bigger.
to enjoy that. And he's not enjoying that because he doesn't want to have that interaction with you. We have that with other men. We don't need that with you. All right?
And you don't want to do that at home.
I would-
You're the lion.
Come on.
You're the lion in
Yes,
the
ma'am.
world. When I come home, I just want to chill
Yes,
out.
ma'am.
I just be nice. Yeah.
On that note, every man, when he gets home, he wants to find peace. So
Yeah.
as a woman, the invitation, if you can create that peace, that place where he can take off his armor, take off his cloak, listen, he can't wait for 5 o'clock to come, because he wants to come home to you. All right.
Absolutely.
Team, all right, let's see if we can go to the next one. I think there's one more, because we're running short on time. Let's see. Are we playing?
It's so nice. I like this. And I'm sure our listeners and our viewers don't mind the time, do you? Okay.
All right, the third way that women disrespect men without realizing it is through surveillance. This could be done through a location tracking app, or snooping through his phone,
I know.
or rifling through his finances. Even the government isn't allowed to do these things without permission. The fact of the matter is, your desire to know does not take precedence over his right to privacy. Women who do these things are functionally treating their men like pets and acting like their owners. As should be obvious, this is placing yourself in a higher position relative to that man, which will be perceived as disrespect. You got it. And it will be perceived as disrespect even if the motivations for doing so are neutral, like simple curiosity, or even positive, like care or concern. As with all of these, the feeling that compelled you to act in this way is irrelevant. It is the behavior itself that is disrespectful. Parents can go into their children's rooms. This is because everything in that room actually belongs to the parent, like it's only the child's room in name. And parents ultimately remain responsible for their children until they turn 18. It's not only their right, it's their duty to supervise their children's lives. But this is only because children lack the capacity to supervise themselves. On the other hand, I'm willing to bet that your man was a fully functioning adult when you met him, and he remains a fully functioning adult to this day. Acting as if you have a right or a duty to supervise his life is treating him like a child. Do you like being treated like a child? Do you like being infantilized? Does that hurt your little feelings? Like, that's infuriating and disrespectful, right? Like, that's why we don't talk like that to other adults. But if we're committed not to infantilize adults with our words and tone, we should likewise be committed not to infantilize adults with our actions and behaviors. Make sense? All right. I'm Dr. Orion Taraban, and this is Psych Hacks, Better Living Through Psychology. And the topic of today's short talk
So
is
let's see if
how
we can pause
women
this.
disrespect
That's the
men
last one there.
without realizing it.
Let's go ahead and stop that.
Power.
So-
the one thing that you women must absolutely...
Yes. So here's the thought there. How did that one reach you? Because I know, again, big trigger warning on that one.
No, firstly, I must the first portion totally agree. My thing with him, however, that triggers me. Some of his word choices. I don't like when he comes because he's totally correct when you say you're not supposed to surveillance. Again, comes back to my previous point. You don't own the person, and but when you're using higher and lower, I'm not comfortable with you saying higher, lower, bigger head, whatever. You know what I mean? Because I'm looking on it that we are both at an equal level. We are both at an equal level, coming from the fact that you are the man. Whenever I'm speaking,
I want to
I'm
adjust
always
that a little bit. Real quick. I want to adjust that a little bit.
You're
real
gonna
quick.
adjust my
Yes.
thought.
Yes, because as you say it, I want to make sure that I'm understanding and our audience is
Okay,
understanding.
okay,
Because as you're saying, the man is the head,
Yes.
but
What I'm
we're equal. Help me to understand how you fit that equality if I'm the head.
talking about.
And I know that we're talking about this, so this is a slight deviation, so I'll let you come back to your thought, but I just wanted to organize it for the listeners. And the
Yes,
viewers.
yes. What I mean, when I say that we are equal, I'm talking about in regards to the mutual respect, and that we are equal in this relationship in making it work. Now the dynamics and of how the Lord created us are different. You are the shepherd in the home. You're the priest. You're the head. You're the male. So that on that precedent, because that's it. There's no going around what God has set.
So, and again, just to unpack, so wouldn't that mean then, by definition, that I'm over you and you are required to follow if I'm the leader? Because here's the thing, if I'm the leader but we are co-decision makers, then I'm not the leader. If I'm
Yes, you
the
are.
head and I need to check in with you,
But I'm not the tail.
not tail, because we have neck,
No,
and
that's
we have
not-
neck and all these things.
yeah.
But
But
the
let-
neck has to go where the head goes.
Yeah, but if I don't want to use it that way because then we can come and say, oh, if the neck not this, the head can't do nothing. And then it's going to put me in leadership.
And so that's why I wanted to spend
what
some
I'm
time
saying,
unpacking it, because that can be a little bit confusing if we're
tricky.
saying that men are leaders but we're equal.
But
we won't
we won't fully
jump
on that.
because we have
But-
to unpack that on itself.
But I'm talking about
Yes.
under the umbrella of mutual respect.
Okay.
And we're talking about coexisting together, and we're talking about how we allow the other person to feel. We are equal in that. Our responsibility is to ensure that the person gets that full enjoyment in this life that God required for him. Yeah. So so as I said, it's just the word choice
Yes.
of doing that kind of make me, you blink a little bit. But he does make sense because I don't think I should put an app on you. I don't need to call you and say, where you there now? Why you there? And then 10 minutes later, I'm calling you again. Where you there? 20 minutes. Where? That is absolutely wrong. And any man who takes that, has taken into his bosom a firebrand.
Yes.
And I totally am against any woman at all who are go pick up him phone and go through it because we must have that basis of trust. No, I can remember now we have an enemy who does not want our relationship to work. So, and if we go away from the blueprint, we're going to have that chaos. So I do know that we have these things happening because trust has gone out the window.
Yes.
And then when you give me mixed signal again, you open the avenue for mistrust.
So let me stick up in at the mixed signal because I want to throw, and again, trigger warning, right? I want to throw something in there to see if we can export. So your girlfriend tell you, say my gear bun, he might do something or do some foolishness, right? And so now your ears are perked up, and you
You start watching.
You start watch him, and then you have a fail of character, and you say, you know what, he leaves his phone sitting down while he goes to the door, and you search it out.
I think that's wrong. Absolutely wrong.
Stay with me, because remember I said trigger warning, and you go in there and you find some pictures,
Some nudies.
Hey. And maybe even a text.
Hey.
Is it still wrong?
For me to, it's still wrong for me to have looked. Yes. It's wrong to go in there.
Okay. All right. So
It is just wrong across the board.
Okay, and that's what we're able to appreciate, because whether you find something or not is irrelevant.
It's still wrong.
Because it's all fruit of the poisonous tree. You went off in disrespect. Listen. So here,
Let me find out. I will find out.
Yes.
Or I may find out. Or allow me to find out in another way than me having to break your privacy.
That's right. And there's another thing in that, and I'm glad you said that. The
Carry
devil is at
her
work.
home.
Listen, carry her home makes you sick, right? But here's the other thing. Sometimes we have some friends, going back to what you said about me not like your girlfriend, we have some friends who are problem makers.
True.
And they may sue you with your good man and want to tell you things so that they can sour things between you, because even if you don't go searching the phone, guess what? What's what you start look at him sideways.
Yes, because now the seed has been planted. The seed has been planted. But I also want to tell you too, Robert, in that a godly woman, mind you, know, we're all this weakling. And I'm not going to say that I may not be susceptible to if my best friend or my sister come and say, Connie, I saw Robert the other day and I don't like it.
Talk to her like Jesus talked to Peter.
So,
get thee behind me, Satan.
But mind you, him could be playing the Satan, because she's looking out for my best interest. Now the thing is, now a godly
I
woman.
Come back to that.
Okay, because it's not that the truth can't be told to you. Likewise, a lie, because and it breaks a relationship. But you see, it's who you are, and if you are not a godly woman, any little sound play, you have itching ears. You go run to any sound. And if you don't, and then it comes back again to the respect, and which brings the trust. If I respect my husband and I love my husband, and not any and anybody can come and tell me any and anything, they will know, because I set my boundaries as well. There is a boundary where they know, say, don't cross it when it comes to the partner. Yeah, and then you know, even if they're telling me the truth, I must first prove you guilty. So I do believe that the woman must treat the man innocent till proven guilty.
But like you said, we're human beings, and so this is where this is my approach to this situation. Anyone, man or woman, who comes to you, or me for that matter, to tell me or you that your man or your woman out the road doing something, they don't mean you any good. I can tell you that. Because here's the thing, and applying Matthew 18 principle, if someone, you've seen an offense, who do you need to approach it with? The person. Because in that, if I see your husband giving you a bun out the road, if I come to you, I've created distrust. If I go to him instead, then I give him an opportunity to come and tell you himself, and to rebuild that trust, or fix it, or work it out. And that now adds value to your relationship, because now he's come to you in truth. But if I come to you myself, I am first a gossip, because I'm giving you information that don't belong to me, and you're entertaining gossip because you are taking information. Because guess what? Maybe that person saw something and it was right, or maybe you're right, they misinterpreted, and they've now sown bad seed into your relationship.
But God also told us in the Bible that if someone offends you, you go to that person one-on-one.
Yes.
So don't come over to me yet.
That's right.
So you talk to the offender or the presumed offender, and you say, this not nice, this I don't like, that Connie wouldn't like this. What I'm seeing, I'm interpreting that this is what it is. So me I give you time to fix it up.
Fair.
Now, if I see him again, a second and a third time, And the fact that I spoke to him and him not receive it, me carry somebody. Don't tell Connie yet. And you reason with him now.
Yes.
Maybe somebody of a higher caliber, like an elder or somebody were renowned then, and you say, or somebody that have years of experience in the relationship, and your reason. Now, when him not do that now, me I go tell Connie.
'Cause
So
now
me
we in a
Connie deal with him.
situation.
So me
Now we
tell
in a
him say
different
carry her
situation.
home,
Yes.
invite it to house.
So if someone wants to bring you some news, and this we kind of turn off a little bit. Someone wants to bring you some news about anything. First thing that we have to ask him: did you talk to the person? If you don't talk to him, don't talk to me. Full stop.
Talk to him first.
Talk to him first. Work it out. If that don't work, eventually when you work through the process, you can come to me.
And
Because-
that need God, you know.
Listen.
Because if somebody come and tell me, say, Robert, down your road, I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, where's my keys? For me, I drive, come down, they come see Robert for myself.
And that's why, because we are human beings, and
tend
whether
to go
or not
that
we
way.
will go that way. So to put in the boundaries, to put in the guardrails, if we can establish that position, and that's why God said, run gossipers.
Yeah.
If we establish that boundary from day one, we don't keep friends with certain people, we don't have certain kinds of conversation, then that can help to protect us psychologically and emotionally from getting into certain situations, whether real or imagined. Because this is how we protect our relationship.
So do you realize now that if everyone had the respect for God and respect for family, that we would not be quick to bring the news home, but we would do as God say, first address the offender
There you
in
go.
love.
There you go.
Because you come now and very well, it might be innocent, you know, and you mash up the 10, 15 years of
Listen.
the relationship. And then, and trust is one thing that is hard to regain, you know? Hard to regain.
And it's hard to regain if it has been violated by a third party. Because if that man came and confessed his sins, then you look at it differently.
I true, man.
But if your girlfriend, now you're all puffed up because people out the road
I
know.
said, me take him back and you're weak and you're not no sense.
And so all of these things come into play. And so
Yeah.
the stay out of people relationship.
Don't trouble Robert in our relationship, okay?
And cut out the surveillance, because guess what?
Yes, definitely.
Anything you try to find, anything you search
It's gonna
for,
hurt you. Yeah.
you will find it. And with that, Connie J, it has been a wonderful
It was
conversation.
good.
Tell me your final thoughts. What are your thoughts on the show?
I need a man.
One time.
Just joking. Yeah. No, seriously though, is that I do believe that you must tell the truth about who you are. Don't hide what you don't like and all these things to kind of get whatever you want, because at the end of the day it will hurt you. So set the foundation for truth and be open so the other party knows exactly without the mixed signals. And I would implore women to get to understand that the man they want to be in the relationship with. And if you're already in the relationship, do take time to understand that his happiness is your responsibility. And if you fail at that, you will answer to God. And so you may go to church every day, pray every day, but if your husband is not happy, you're not going to make it to heaven. Because in retrospect, if you have kids, you're also blighting their future as well, because you create that environment. And respect in itself, it is a work. And I do believe that we need to now learn how we make the other person interpret what we are giving. Give them sweet food.
That's a serious indictment, Connie. That's a serious indictment and a serious invitation to the women to be able to understand and for us to build that kind of relationship that God can truly honor. Tomorrow is just before you got married. What are you talking about? Tell the people.
I don't know yet.
So you told me that you'd be talking about something and you'd be having
My vagina and I.
and you may have an expert that gets to come.
I want to have an expert on that would talk about the vagina, you know? You know what I find, Robert, in a reel is that a lot of women don't know what their vagina looks like. They don't know how to really clean it, especially after intercourse. And women don't know, for those who are going into menopause, you know, we have that we'll experience vaginal dryness. They don't know the secrets and things how to get it back lubricated and nice, working as it should, so that we can exert that power over the man.
Respectfully. So join Connie as she explores and as
Yes.
you can explore and talk a little bit more about. Just to add, and for men, as we've talked about these things, if you do find yourself in a position where you are hesitant or you find it a little bit challenging to be truthful with women, you may want to take a step back and look at yourself and say, am I fully and completely who I am? And what is the thing that stops me from being able to stand up as a man, 10 toes, chest out, and say, hey, I don't like this. And if for some reason you're not there, take a look and see how you can help yourself get there. Whether you need to get back into the gym, whether you need to make more money, whether you need to start looking at yourself and start dressing and start feeling yourself so that you can stand up and make sure that you stand as a man, so that when she looks at you, she sees that leader, that man, that she can make sure that
Man
she's
that
getting
you
everything
are.
setting up for, right?
Yes.
All right. This has been The Wrecking Trade. This has been Robert Lynch hanging out with Connie J.E. Join us next week for another awesome conversation.
Good night, all.
Welcome to The Wrecking Trade, the radio show that provides a platform for a deeper understanding of issues affecting men in the Cayman Islands. Join us as we explore the low enrollment of men and boys in college classrooms, the absence of men in the church, and the absence of fathers in the home. Join the conversation as we help men find their place in the modern world. Through engaging interviews with experts and members of the community, we provide a clear picture of what healthy masculinity looks like as an example for boys and girls. Our mission is to provide a voice for men, to help them navigate the challenges that they face and provide hope for a brighter future. So tune in and join the conversation on The Wrecking Trade. Together, we can make a difference in the lives of men and boys in the Cayman Islands.